The annual Kalamazoo Fretboard Festival was first held here at the Kalamazoo Valley Museum back in 2006. My name is Jay Gavin, and I helped organize that first event. As we approach the 16th edition of the Fretboard Festival, here's a brief explanation of how and why it came to be. As many of you are surely aware, Kalamazoo is one of the birthplaces of not only the modern acoustic and electric guitar, but of other stringed and fretted instruments as well, like mandolins, banjos, and electric steel guitars. At least until 1984, the Gibson Company in Kalamazoo built the instruments on which performers like Eddie Lang, Charlie Christian, Les Paul and Mary Ford, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Led Zeppelin, and AC/DC created the soundtrack of the 20th century. And modern musicians continue to make groundbreaking music, taking advantage of the tones of instruments originally made here in Kalamazoo.
Now that it's all over, all I can do is wish you well.
And while Gibson moved to Nashville in 1984, many of the people who had built Gibson guitars and mandolins every day for decades did not leave. Greater Kalamazoo is filled with Gibson retirees, as well as their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, nephews, friends, neighbors. Perhaps no town in America can boast such a legacy of skilled, stringed instrument builders. Each year, the Kalamazoo Valley Museum hosts biochemical industry specialists for its annual Chemistry Day, nurses and doctors from area hospitals for its Festival of Health, and a variety of other interesting events and exhibits that bring families to downtown Kalamazoo and let them ponder industries or technologies that have played important roles in Kalamazoo's past and present. Holding a similar event for guitar makers, or luthiers, made perfect sense. So now, each spring, we celebrate our legacy of stringed instrument design and manufacture by bringing instrument makers and enthusiasts for a weekend that serves as a reminder of our community's unique legacy of making not only music, but of making the instruments that make the music. Why call it a fretboard festival? Well, most guitars, mandolins, and banjos, the core of what Gibson produced for all those years here in Kalamazoo, are fretted instruments. Unlike their close cousins in the violin family, fretted instruments have metal spacers in the fingerboard that regulate the pitch and help players know where to get the precise intonation of a note. And people often refer to these fingerboards as fretboards. Also, this distinction helps explain one reason why the mass production of mandolins and guitars required a large workforce of employees. Frets require extra cuts, extra materials, engineering, precision, and hours of assembly. They also make guitar intonation and string height finicky, requiring skilled luthiers and technicians for maintaining their playability and their sound. So those frets are one area of the instrument that helps explain why 1,000 people were at one point working at Gibson in the 1960s, and why Kalamazoo has produced so many skilled luthiers. Finally, the most direct answer to the question is that when I told local guitar player and songwriting legend Joel Mabus that I was planning a guitar event at the museum and asked him to participate, he immediately said, "Kalamazoo has needed a fretboard festival for a long time. Thanks for both the name and the encouragement, Joel."